Hi, Phil from Rainmaker here. Really pleased to have Melissa Langton with me today. She runs Excelar8, which is a HR consultancy that deals with getting people heading in the right direction, getting productivity and also profitability out of their staff. So, good morning, Melissa, and how are you this morning?
Fantastic, Phil. How are you going after a long weekend?
Great to have another long weekend. Looking forward to a bit of productivity out of this
Yeah.
week. Love the
Oh,
holidays, but yeah, they do take a bit of a hit on that. Why I wanted to have pick up a chat with Melissa. Melissa and I chatted a little while ago. And one of the things we do at Rainmaker is we really focus on the whole concept that revenue is an ecosystem. So an ecosystem made up of a whole range of aspects where sales is almost at the end of it. So if you want to change your productivity and various other things, sales is the end of it. It relies on many other areas, your marketing, your product, your pricing, customer service, all of these different areas build up to eventually, form a really strong revenue ecosystem. So I wanted to just pick Melissa's brains and all of her experience. One of the questions we get asked is, well, that's great, but how do we actually get our team working in the same direction? Some of it's sometimes siloed and some of it's personalities. Or it's even one person, trying to do many roles. So Melissa, can I throw it out to you just to share how you can frame it up and how you get alignment in a team? What are the things you've learned and that you help organizations with?
yeah, absolutely. So you get asked that question a lot, and so do I. So
Yeah.
I would love to be able to work with businesses that are with teams humming and we just want to be better at what we do. But the reality is, I work with teams that are in pain. I take that back. I work with business owners who are in pain because they have those HR headaches. They can't get their team aligned. And I think the biggest issue is what someone's definition of aligned is. Employers will never think like an employee again. I can just vouch for that myself, but and employees will never think like employers in its entirety. So what we need to get is alignment of perception and experiences. So there are some shared experiences in business and some that are completely different. So for example, a business owner, they lose sleep not because of their own mortgage. They lose sleep because they have 17 different mortgages or rents to be able to meet because they genuinely care about their employees. And the employees have a perception, and I'm generalizing here, have a perception that they're making all of this profit. So that must mean they have all of this money. But we know that profit doesn't equal money in the hand of the business owner. Profit actually means freedom or choice. And
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Phil, but going into business, that was why I did it, is I want to have freedom and choice. If I wanted an easy life, I'll get a job. It's trying to make sure that your strategy, which is not just knowing where we're going, the product that we have, it's systems and processes that support that strategy. How is that aligned or how is it linked? So that's really the key is how is it linked to your employees' activities every day? So how often do you have conversations around how is what you're doing helping us to achieve blah? So it could be we want to get 50 new customers today. How is what you're doing and helping us to do that? That gives people the benefit of one, understanding their perception. So it's seeking to understand versus seeking to respond. And I find that if you are asking questions to actually genuinely find out versus to catch someone out, you tend to find out a whole heap of different information from him. So that's what alignment is to me.
So then you're working on both the employer side and sort of saying, hey, understand these pressures and issues coming through your employees. Do you also work with the employees, as you're just saying, that to sort of say, hey, here's other view, and that's where you're trying to find that balance of view? Is it?
Absolutely. So back to, I think you mentioned before around silos or people just doing their own thing.
Yeah.
I find that genuinely people do actually want to do a good job. What we tend to do, when I say we as managers and people leaders, we don't set them up for success with the right information and tools. I'm not just talking about money here. I'm just talking about communication. So back to what I do, it's actually giving everyone a holistic measurement of the business. And I say measurement very specifically because if we are going to improve, change, get us an understanding of where we're actually at, we need to measure it and we need to measure it consistently. So once you are able to measure the alignment in your business, and I've got a few tools to do that, but essentially it's about measuring the satisfaction of an employer in their business, which is quite groundbreaking because generally
Yes, yeah.
if we're measuring satisfaction in a business, it's all about the employee. How do they feel? Or what do they think of the business?
And
But
certainly
if we have a look
that's
at,
the model, yeah.
yes, but if we have a look at how a business operates, that is only 50% or even actually only one third of how a high performing business operates. The other two thirds is how satisfied is the business owner with the strategy? And that doesn't necessarily mean satisfied with staff. It's about how satisfied are you with your systems, processes, resources, and decision making? And how satisfied are you or confident are you in your people's ability to make that strategy happen? Now, that's all very technical and theoretical. But what
Yeah.
it comes down to is what's your experience in this business as a business owner? And what's your experience of the business as an employee? And how do they align? Please, once you start to understand that, you can then start singing from the same hymn book.
So no doubt that sort of opened up a watershed moment, I would say very often, because I've sort of sat both sides of the coin over many years. And, HR has always been that traditional push down. It's all about the employees. Let's do the employee survey. Let's do their salary survey, which is really, really important. But I love that concept of being able to look at it from both sides and ultimately it becomes, one symbiotic unit that's moving forward and feeling really comfortable. Measurement, I think, yeah, absolutely. And even on incentivizing, how do you incentivize those people so you are working as a unit as opposed to singular units? I think so. Are those areas that you also explore or part of what?
Yes. So the beauty of the measurement process that we go through, or anyone that can go through a diagnostic process, a holistic one, I have to point out, but it's actually understanding what are the priorities because you'll talk to employees, they'll give you a list of 20 things, talk to the employer, it's a list of 20 things. What's important is bringing those two together to say, what do we have in common?
Yeah.
And you mentioned before around incentivizing, and that's a really big headache right now is
Yeah.
retention, or actually people think it's attraction, but right back to your comment around sales is actually the last thing. Attraction to your business is the last thing you should be thinking about because it's about what product are you delivering for your employees? What are you going to offer them as to why do they want to work with you? So businesses struggle a bit with this whole concept of employer branding or culture, when really what it is, they do it all the time when it comes to their customer. Can guarantee every single time I speak to an employer or a business owner, they will be able to tell me in minute detail their product offering, the value service that they deliver, what their customer charter is, who their ideal client is. And then I ask the exact same questions of the employees and I get just a blank look. I just go, well,
Yeah.
no. I said, okay, so start transferring that diagnostic process to employees. Why do employees want to work for you? Why do they stay? So that measurement process actually solidifies that. And back to those watershed moments, there is just like neurons firing everywhere when I give them the results because overwhelmingly, employees are shocked at how dissatisfied employers are.
Yeah.
And employers are shocked at how satisfied employees are. And it really highlights that you actually have two different planets. We need to bring you back together to start to understand some of those headaches, some of the pain points, but also what you think you do really well. So if you want to incentivize, you can't do that until you have a remuneration framework, strategy. These all sound like big words, Phil. They're actually, the concept of them is really simple. We just need to find something that works for the business and the employees as well. So And it really has to be driven by the performance of the business, because if the business isn't performing in whatever that looks like, I'm not just talking about making money.
Mm.
If it isn't performing, nobody is going to want to work there, including the business owner.
Yeah, it's so true. I think, incentives and those discussions around that aren't necessarily just for big business. Every business, has a form of incentive, and it may not be money. It may be time, it may be promotions, it may be opportunity, it may be many other things. And I think taking a broader view whenever you're looking at these things and not just, sort of drilling them down. It's just about, paying someone another $2 a week. It's about how do we actually bring that, as I said, all together? How do we measure it and how do we know where we're going? And I could certainly see those watershed moments from there.
Yeah.
So that has been really, for me, informative. Someone who's been around the block a few times, as you can see. And look, I hope anyone who listens to this also has taken value out of it. Obviously, feel free to get hold of Melissa and myself if you want to pick up on these subjects more. Melissa consults throughout Australia. Is that correct, Melissa? Or
Yeah. Concentrate a lot in Southeast Queensland,
yeah,
but I'm about to go and do some work with businesses in Melbourne and Sydney. So there's definite opportunities to be able to look at what businesses need and deliver.
yeah, I love it. The way I suppose, we pride ourselves. We try to look at the issues in a different light, in a different manner, and not roll out what was working 5, 10, 15 years ago, and just or was sold and promoted 5, 10, 15 years ago, and just looking at it from a fresh approach. And I think post COVID and all of these things that businesses have changed, and the way we need to look at them and approach what we do from a management and staffing perspective is really changing. So fresh approach is really strong. So Melissa, really appreciate your time today and look forward to sharing this, and hopefully we deliver value to the people who watch it.
Oh, thank you so much, Phil. I love having these types of conversations, and I could go on for hours, but that would just be boring watching two people have a conversation around it. But I really appreciate the opportunity, and it's awesome to be able to just explain to people how it can actually work for them, because it is possible and it doesn't have to cost you tens of thousands of dollars, which is
I think
awesome.
that's the whole thing. It can be for a lot of businesses, and it's scaled to the business, which is really important. So but
Absolutely.
appreciate that, Melissa, and thanks very much.
Thank you, Phil. Have a great day.